Hello, everybody. I am very much looking forward to ESPID this year, even though it's a virtual event. And I'm very happy to participate and speaking in the section of Forgotten Wisdom, and talking about a study that our group, which it was in our group when I was in St. Louis, Ralph Dagan and myself and other people, investigators, where we studied an epidemic of measles. And this vaccine had been licensed in 1963, so this was just 7 years or 8 years later, and we made several findings which are important today, and the first of which was that we described primary versus secondary vaccine failure. And secondary vaccine failure, the people are not as sick as with primary vaccine failure, and their immune response is only IgG antibody with no IgM. And so we described this. And then another very important thing was we noted that to be successful, that we were going to need a 2-dose vaccination schedule. And in the United States, it took 17 years and 2 epidemics before that concept took hold. And the important thing regarding Europe, which is that measles has been really quite prevalent over the last few years. And in the 5-year period from 2015 to 2019, there were 58,000 cases of measles. And one other thing about measles that people overlook, and which I'd like to remind everybody, is that with measles, of course, that roughly 1 in 1,000 patients will die. 1 in 1,000 will get encephalitis, and some of them will end up brain damaged. And then there's other complications. The first of which is subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, which that we, from studies that we've done here in California, have shown that this is much more common than people realize. So out of the 58,000, about 58 of those will go on, and in 10 years or so, they'll develop this fatal disease, SSPE. Another important thing is what's called post-measles immune amnesia. And it has been shown, this was first pointed out years in the 1980s in studies in Africa by a person by the name of Peter Abbey. And he noted that if you had measles, you were more susceptible to other infectious diseases. And for a considerable period of time. And that has been studied by others more recently, including myself and Ulrich Heiniger in Basel, and noticed that it occurs in the developed world, and was studied in England as well as our studies in Switzerland, and that you're more likely for a 5-year period to be hospitalized for other infectious diseases than in people who don't have measles. So talking about what we did in the past and looking at measles at the present time in Europe, I think we need to do a lot better in seeing that all children get 2 doses of measles vaccine, and we follow up and get older people who never got 2 doses to have them vaccinated as well. And so this is what I will be covering in more depth in Geneva in the last week in May of 2021. Thank you.